Alrighty, I think that everyone's kind of trickled in, um, but as more people join, we can add them in pretty easily. But yeah, welcome back everyone um, to the NIC CARTI Seaweed Series. I have been kind of calling this season two. I'm not really sure what I should call it, but yeah, 2024 CARTI Seaweed Series is well on the way. We have a pretty cool lineup, but I will get to that in a little bit. Uh, I'm joining you from Campbell River, which are the traditional territories of the Wewakai, Wewakam, and Queerka nations. We have some pretty cool projects on the go with those guys right now. Ali, actually, who I saw today, has had some pretty fun projects this year with Queerka and Wewakam. So yeah, we're always excited to get out and do more with them. Um, yeah, the today's presentation is joining us from Souk, that is SeaFlora Skincare, and we have Chantelle joining us, which is pretty awesome. Um, Later on, after this one, we have the province joining us next month. I'm hoping that they will do a very short 5 to 10 minute presentation and then kind of open the floor up for a Q&A. So that's going to be another fun presentation. And we also have Cascadia joining us to talk about their work in agrifeeds. And we also have sea forest macroalgae. They're going to join us and talk to us about hopefully food products, but I don't think that they have 100% decided what the topic's going to be, which just makes it all the more exciting. And who knows, maybe we'll add a presentation or two after that. But I know for a lot of people that that's kind of getting into the summer months, and that gets pretty busy for field work and for actually harvesting kelp. So we will play that one by ear. But regardless, if you have any questions on any of these talks, then please email us. And if you have ideas of who you would like to see present, also contribute those ideas. But we're also open to doing projects with anyone. So if you have any project related ideas that might be related to kelp or shellfish or kind of anything in the ocean, we're always interested in chatting and trying to figure out a project or how we can work on a project with you guys. So yeah, if anything comes up, let us know. But without further ado, let's hand over to Chantelle, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. There we go, nailed it. And I think Chantelle has a whole presentation that she's just gonna get straight into. And yeah, sit back, enjoy your lunch, and enjoy the time. Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction, Logan. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy to be here. And when you first invited me, I was thinking, you know, I'm going to talk about SeaFlora, of course. But then I realized the main ingredient of SeaFlora is seaweed. And what we don't seem to understand well enough is seaweed and why it's so amazing. I'm from Windsor, Ontario, and I moved out here almost 9 years ago, and I knew nothing about seaweed. But as a Pisces, I guess I was always kind of drawn to the ocean. And what I learned while living here was not only how great seaflora was for my skin, which is why I didn't wear anything on my skin so that you could see it. I just did lashes and lipstick, which is pretty much all I ever do because I really want people to see how great my skin is. I'm turning 45 in a couple of months, so my skin makes me really proud. And I think the best foundation anyone can wear is great skin. And I think that if you're going to sell something, you should really believe in it. Okay, Logan, I need your help here because I need to move stuff around on my screen or make it disappear, and I'm not sure how to do it.
I can only see like the full screen piece now.
Okay. I
Maybe
see
if you
bars at the end and stuff, and it's gonna get in my way, and I just don't know how to move it. Okay,
okay.
here we go. I minimized it enough. Okay,
Okay,
excellent.
perfect. Feel like
So
you got it.
yeah, thank you. The seaweed is amazing, and Vancouver Island is a gift wrapped in seaweed. We have more diversity and more species all the way up the coastline than pretty much anywhere else. And to drive that home, we were at a seaweed expo once in Taiwan, and we had these ninth generation seaweed harvesters come over and start looking at our Mazayella, asking us, "What is this?" They had never seen it before. So even from Japan to over here, and we're just across the Pacific, we seem to have more diversity here, which is a really beautiful thing. Okay, there we go. So there's whoop, 3 seaweed families. It's really easy to break it up into 3 families. The brown are the oldest. We have found out that they are much older and more ancient than the reds and the greens seem to be the newest. But the best way to break them up is I always think red seaweeds for collagen, anti-aging. The brown seaweeds for healing because they are the highest in vitamin B, and they also seem to do the best to stimulate circulation. And green seaweeds, I always think chlorophyll detoxification through chlorophyll. And also I think vitamin A because they have the highest amount of vitamin A. So green seaweeds make a great retinol replacement. Brown seaweeds are great for cellulite and wound healing and sunburns. So red seaweeds are great for our anti-aging products and toning and fixing texture. But what else some of the red seaweeds are really great for is they're actually being researched for acne vulgaris. So breaking it up like that is a great way to break up the families and then know which family we're going to use for which products, right? And what that product goal is. But in the beginning, Diane is a 3rd generation seaweed harvester. She's from the islands of the Magdalena Islands that are off the coast of Quebec. And that's where her family used to harvest seaweed. And George is a marine biologist for almost 4 decades with the Canadian government. So he helped her to select which kelps around here might be best for which products. And then they did all the research, to back themselves up. And that's how we decided on 9 specific species that we harvest right here off the coast in Souk. And we are licensed to harvest from Souk to Port Renfrew because when you use seaweed for commercial uses, you have to get licensed. And that means that you have to first go through the First Nations and get their approval. And then you have to go to the government with that approval and get approved for each wild species that you want to harvest. And I didn't really know much about seaweed. I went on a Tinder date when I moved here, and the guy I was on a date with is Adam Butcher, who I'm now married to. And I was talking to him about my skin, and he was talking to me about the products I was using. And he said, just use the cleanser in there. I'm telling you, it's going to work. But seaweed to me was foreign and intimidating and unappealing, I would say, when I first started looking at it. I just didn't get it. Because I think what a lot of us see is that we see the compost piles along the shorelines, and we see slimy alginates, right? And maybe the first time we try it, it's so foreign to us that we just don't get it. But and the smell for sure. But seaweed is amazing, and I have fallen in love with seaweed because seaweed and the ocean have a flowing chemistry with humans, and it's beautiful. You see, I didn't understand that our blood plasma is less than 1 molecule different from ocean water. I didn't realize that we were made up of all these minerals and vitamins and proteins and fats, and seaweeds are everything we need. Literally everything. They are a perfect food. They are everything we need. They have all the minerals, they have all the vitamins, they also have these unique bioactives. So there's this beautiful flowing chemistry. And seaweeds, the way that they reproduce is honestly a lot like humans. And their growth and development is really interesting too because of the hold fast system. So a funny story that I have about trying to get our seaweeds that we harvest USDA certified organic is that they did not have a root system, and the USDA had never certified anything as organic that didn't have a root system. So they had to create a whole new system of how to certify something as organic if it doesn't actually have a root system. So that's kind of cool because we helped their business develop. So that's how we knew that we were onto something unique and big. There's a lot of skincare companies out there that will tell you that there's seaweed in their product. But if you look at something like seaweed biogel, which is something that you put on your nails, there's no seaweed in it. They just wanted to have a nail growth serum that's associated with something healthy, right? But we don't really understand seaweed. And proof of that is this. Everybody knows what kombucha is. You walk into your grocery store and there's like 200 bottles of kombucha staring you in the face. But what is it? It's kombu cha, kombu tea. Kombu is laminaria seaweed. Kombu tea. Why did North Americans take the kombu out of it? Right? It's crazy. Like we just don't seem to understand seaweed. And so when all we're seeing is that compost pile that comes up on the shore, or maybe all we have seen is we've gone to Mexico and just been totally put off by it. Seaweed is so beautiful. And if you live on Vancouver Island and you've seen some of these forests, these kelp forests, you know just how gorgeous they are. So this flowing chemistry that I'm talking about is that this little spore comes off of the seaweed, and then either another spore of the opposite sex will attach, or it can just start germinating on its own and growing. And what it does is it just holds fast to something. Now, seaweeds grow for 9 months out of the year, just like a human baby. Isn't that cool? The embryonic fluid in a woman's womb is just like ocean water. In fact, you can take your white blood cells, put them in ocean water, and they won't even notice a difference for up to 6 weeks. Isn't that amazing? Like, how cool is that? There's so much science to prove that what I'm saying is true. And you don't really have to look hard for it. You can literally go on GPT and say, blah, 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 what I just said. And it'll be like, yep, and here's your references. And if you want actually really good references, go to like Perplexity, because Perplexity will give you all the links of where it got its information. But it's remarkable how similar the ocean where all life comes from and seaweeds, how similar this is. So our blood plasma, our sweat, our tears, our embryonic fluid, ocean water. The seaweeds grow for 9 months out of the year, like babies in a womb. You see? And once we know this, it's undeniable and should be used, right? It should be used. It should be used for us to figure out how can we use this beautiful healing plant. It's an organism, but still, algae, to benefit us. Well, what we can do is we can look at topical application. We can look at eating it, right? We can look at these things, and thalassotherapy is another thing. Thalassotherapy has been around for a very long time. Actually, it goes back to like the Romans. So thalassotherapy is really big in France and other places. Why isn't it big here? I'll tell you what, Vogue magazine just said that Vancouver Island is the world's next great wellness destination. So I think people are starting to get it. You could go to like Nemo Bay Resort and get a seaweed bath, or you can go to Avicena, which is a little Airbnb in Qualicum, and you can get a seaweed bath. So I think that it is becoming a thing. You can go to Black Rock Resort and get thalassotherapy treatments. I think it is becoming a thing, but it really needs more people talking about it. When you think about ailments and where they come from, think about like coffee. We all know that coffee, which most of us drink, is zapping minerals from the body. We know that parasites can be a problem and they zap minerals from the body. You get sick, you're stressed out, zapping minerals from the body. You're around too much electromagnetic devices, zapping your minerals. So there's so many things that are zapping our minerals and using them up, or we're not balanced in our minerals. So in my research, I have found that most ailments, and I started by looking at like acne, rosacea, eczema, psoriasis, right? Because I was learning about seaweed from a skincare perspective. And when I started learning about why it's the main ingredient, I started to learn that these things start in the gut and they start with mineral deficiencies. For example, rosacea. It starts with low stomach acid. Low stomach acid leads to a low absorption of minerals. It also will start to lead to having not enough good bacteria in the gut, because 75% of people that have rosacea actually test positive for H. pylori bacteria. So we have to look at our skin as something much bigger. Excuse me. And when we look at our ailments as a nutritional deficiency, we can see why seaweed's been used for so long in traditional Chinese medicine and homeopathic remedies to fix things. We really just need to improve our health. So how has it been used? Well, it's used for cooling, instead of warmth and damp. If you need cooling and drying, seaweed offers that in TCM. And if you look at what it actually does when it's topically applied or eaten, is that it actually gives you the B vitamins that help circulate your blood and your life force, right? So stagnation in the body is a huge problem. We know that you can have foot troubles if you're diabetic. That's from stagnation in the blood. Goiter issues, they're only from, like, the only reason you have goiter issues ever is from low iodine. What I've actually recently learned too is that if you have cysts, it's often an iodine deficiency. And then I learned that iodine is best absorbed when topically applied. So iodine, let me grab it. Iodine from fresh kelp, right? So just eating it, or even just topically applying just one drop, you don't even need a lot of seaweed, one drop can be super beneficial. And you just put it on your skin, it absorbs into your body. And another one that you really want to take topically is magnesium. So when I started to realize that topically applying SeaFlora, which uses seaweed as the main ingredient, was actually having so much positive health impact on me, who was from big city, 200 pounds, super acneic around my jawline. I was not as healthy as I am now. And learning about seaweed was really the driver. I'm a 2-time cancer survivor. And for me, it was really important to find clean products. But I was put off by seaweed until I started to understand it. And now I eat it. I'm snacking on it. Logan said bring snacks. I'm snacking on it. I put it on topically every day, head to toe. I took it a step further. I did a mineral test by cutting really close to my hair, my scalp, and you take little trimmings of the hair from your scalp to like a few millimeters out, and you got to get enough of that little pieces of hair that they can do a mineral test on you. And then I applied wild sea kelp body lotion every day, twice a day for 3 months. I did the mineral test again. My mineral content was more balanced. I didn't have the weird. Sometimes you can have too much of certain minerals, whereas they need to be balanced. Like say you're taking zinc, that is going to deplete your copper. So you should take copper and zinc together so that you're not unbalanced. Well, my minerals were way more balanced and I wasn't deficient in any minerals. So I have proof. Of course, it's one person, and my biochemist did this too. So it's two people who have done this. But with more testing and research, I mean, seaweed's amazing. It is amazing. And people need to know it's not just about skin health. How many people have phlegm issues, right? How many people are having thyroid issues and they keep trying to work on their hormones, but maybe it's just not enough because they actually have to work on their thyroid because maybe they just have a little bit deficient in iodine, you know? So, why seaweed works is because of its nutritional values. What does seaweed have? It has everything. It has everything. So, because it's not a rooted system, right? Because if it is, like let's say we're talking about any kind of plant that we want to eat, it's got to absorb minerals from the soil. So, what do they use to fertilize the land? Seaweed, right? They use seaweed. But in the ocean, it's on a holdfast and absorbing the minerals directly from the ocean. Because it's got this simple cell structure, it's able to absorb almost all the minerals that make up the human body. How amazing is that? And it doesn't just offer, vitamin A for your nice retinol treatment. No, 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 no. It's got vitamin A too. Very hard to find. It has vitamin B7, super hard to find. It has natural folate. It has natural folic acid. So you don't need to do the synthetic. The synthetic isn't really even good if it even works, if it's not petroleum based, even, Like, think about it. Right here, we have the most bioavailable multivitamin you could ever take. Excuse me. It has about 600 times more vitamin C than an orange. But when you think of vitamin C, you think of oranges, right? Because that's how we've been marketed to. Vitamin D, getting your vitamin D2 is your less active vitamin D, and vitamin D3 is your more active vitamin D. So being able to get both of them means that you're going to have basically a slow release and you're going to have a quick absorption of the vitamin D and quick activation. So cool. But what's really important is that not only does it have all this, you have to think about things like everybody wants a vitamin C serum. Okay. So think about it in skincare terms. Everybody wants a vitamin C serum. Oh, you must have a vitamin C serum. Okay. But what else is in that serum? Because vitamin C needs vitamin D, manganese, selenium, iron, and other things to actually do its job. So, because seaweed offers all of the cofactors needed, it's going to be able to do its job optimally. So, your vitamin C serum, when you're using SeaFlora, is going to be pow compared to pretty much anything else on the market. Because, first of all, they're using water as their main ingredient, all the competition, all of it, all of them. First ingredient, water. That means that makes up 50 to 80% of the product. But if seaweed, which is an active ingredient, and we know that because brands like La Mer have built all of their marketing around it and then go sprinkle, sprinkle with their seaweed. But when it's an active ingredient that's a main ingredient and has all these cofactors, that's why in one use, all these spas were blown away because they would be like doing a treatment and wow, wow, in one use, one facial. Right. It's the power of seaweed. That's what it is. And it's so hard to train people on this because in North America, we don't really know much about it. Another example would be magnesium. If you're magnesium deficient, magnesium is responsible for like 600 to 800 processes in the body. So let's say that you are magnesium deficient. Well, that's 600 to 800 processes that are not happening very well or at all in your body. Like you can see how this would break things down, right? So, okay, let's say you have magnesium, but you don't have manganese and you don't have selenium. Well, those are the cofactors and calcium and. So the cofactors, if you don't have them, Well, magnesium can't do its job optimally, right? So there's so many things that we got to think about why seaweed is the perfect ingredient for skincare, especially as a main ingredient. And the only reason that more brands don't do it is because, sorry, it's not working here, is because seaweed is actually expensive. It's expensive to harvest, it's expensive to source if you can't just go in your backyard and get it. But what seaweed has that no other organism on earth has is these secondary metabolites. These secondary metabolites give them superpowers. I'll give you an example, okay, of how they develop these secondary metabolites. You've got these tides, and the tide goes out, and it goes out and out and out, and these seaweeds in the intertidal zone, they just bake in the sun. They bake to a crisp. The roots are out there and everything. So roots, hold fast. And they're baked in the sun. The water comes back when the tide comes in, and these beautiful, glorious alginates just come back to life, and they're, growing and doing all these things again. And how are they not dead? Any other plant we would have left out in the sun would have baked to a crisp and just been done with, right? So how um, do they do this? Well, they have these things called mycosporin-like amino acids. And mycosporin-like amino acids are like a physical shield from the sun. And so we are learning how to use these physical shields from the sun for our natural sunscreen. And you can't call anything a sunscreen in Canada or America unless it's made in a Health Canada approved lab and has all these toxins in it. And we don't want anything to do with that. We don't put anything in our skincare that is not food grade or pro health. And that's what sets us apart. They even have this Yucca app now, and you can scan barcodes of any product. I think there was one called Think Dirty too. And you just scan the barcode of any skincare or food product, and it tells you how healthy this product is. Every one of SeaFlora's products scores 100 out of 100. Why? Because it's all food grade ingredients. They're all pro health ingredients, and seaweed is the main ingredient. And it's super duper sustainable. But more important, we have these secondary metabolites like sulfated polysaccharides. So I kept wondering, how come when I'm about to get a cold sore, and I do get them from time to time, but not as much as I used to, how come I could put a little seaweed body gel on it and the tingling would go away, and half the time my cold sore wouldn't come out? Well, I started doing some research, and I wrote this beautiful blog, and it's called Can Seaweed Naturally Cure Herpes? Well, my first sentence in that blog was no. No, it can't cure herpes. There is no cure yet. However, seaweed is being studied for the potential for its antiviral properties. So since that article was written, and it's our best performing blog on the website, which means people are looking for natural cures, especially to things like herpes, there's been a lot more science on it. So I went back and I wrote another blog on it because the science had come so far in 3 years. So please go to like NIH and look up sulfated polysaccharides, because they're being used in the research for the potential cure for herpes, simplex 1 and 2, measles, and other viruses that we always thought were completely unable to cure. So it's beautiful what these secondary metabolites are able to do. Pleurothannins. Pleurothannins are found exclusively in seaweeds. And what is it? Well, if you have a sugar addiction, which many people do, I don't think people realize that they're eating sugar in their potatoes. I'll just give you a story. Guy comes into SeaFlora and he's covered in psoriasis, just covered. And I feel so bad for him. And I say to him, wow, that must hurt. And he says, yeah. And I said, on top of the seaweed body gel, can I ask you to cut sugar out of your diet for a month and see if it helps? And he says, I don't eat sugar. And I said, do you eat potatoes? He says, yep. I said, do you eat rice? He says, yep. I said, do you eat pasta? He says, yep. I said, they're all sugar. And he was, what? People don't know. They don't know. So when you tell them, cutting sugar out really might help, it's because of the negative effects that sugar have on our gut health and on our microbiome. And all the sanitizers we're using and all these things, right? So when our gut health is at risk and our microbiome is at risk, it starts in the gut. So the first thing I try and do is get people to start eating seaweed because it will quickly lower your glucose levels. I ask them to take cinnamon because it will balance your blood pressure, and I ask them to cut sugar out of their diet, because the real way to work on your skincare and your skin health is by working on your gut health and your overall health. And I've come to the conclusion that eating seaweed, applying it topically, and taking saunas might be the keys to longevity. So I'm all in on those. Laminarin is beautiful. Laminarin is your kombu. So not only can you ferment this beautiful kelp, but you can cut it into your salads. It's what I'm eating right here, and what it's researched for is everything from getting rid of cellulite to getting rid of eczema. And why? Because laminarin is so rich in B vitamins, it stimulates your circulation. That's stagnant in your thighs, because it does get stagnant, right? You get this coating of fat on your thighs when you're a woman, and stagnant. There's not as much blood circulation. So what these seaweeds do is come in from the inside and outside and start moving that blood around. So it's really going to help. Also, laminarin and other seaweeds are prebiotics. So the fact that it's a prebiotic is going to feed your good bacteria. So if you've taken any kind of, especially for your woman, if you've taken any kind of antibiotic, you know that you get another issue in another place that you need to fix. Why? Because your bacteria is off. And when you realize that as a human, you are 60 or more % bacteria, you start to go, oh, maybe I shouldn't put hand sanitizer on. Maybe I should use something like colloidal silver, which won't hurt my good bacteria. Oh, well, maybe I shouldn't drink alcohol because I'm actually killing myself because I'm made of bacteria and it's an antibacterial. You start making these connections where you might not have ever made these connections before. But it's so important to think about these things. Our microbiome health starts in the gut. So getting rid of eczema, psoriasis is really important when people walk in and they are suffering. I mean, have you seen it? It's scaly, red, inflamed, painful. I just want to hug them. Hug them. I'm going to tell them Mother Nature's going to take care of you, and, let them at it. Honestly, there have been people that have come in that can't afford our products. I don't care. I'll give them samples, enough samples to help them. And then I'll tell them, you can go get seaweed here these months. Do it, go get it. Take seaweed baths. Do what you can. Apply it topically. It's very, very good. And if you can eat it, even if you dry it like this, dry it and then just munch on it. You need about 5 grams a day. So about 5 grams a day is all you need to genuinely make a difference in your health. Fucoxanthin, this is a really unique one. Fucoxanthin is amazing. Now, when you hear carotenoid, are you like me and you think A vitamins? Because that's what I think. Carotenoids, beta carotene, carotenoids, they are, if you ate too many carrots and you turned orange, that's from carotenoids. So it's a really cool compound, and it's found in brown seaweed. It's not just awesome for its potential in weight management. It's awesome because it can actually start to reverse diabetes, is what they're seeing. So it says anti-obesity effects. It should also, and anti-diabetic properties, because it's anti-diabetes. So when I think fucoxanthin, I think, why are we not naturally curing diabetes yet? Oh, yeah, that's right. You know why too. And it's really sad to me because seaweed could be on the forefront all the time being recommended for so many things, and it's not. It's actually censored. It's hilarious. I specialize in online marketing. And what I did is I really started to look at what's being censored. And it's funny because seaweed is actually being censored by the algorithms now. Why? Well, because it has weed in the word, first of all. Yep. Isn't that funny? And the second thing, another thing that we should have completely started using for medical help years ago. But the other thing it's getting flagged for is how good it is at treating COVID. Yep. And you can go to NIH and do all your research on it because wow, 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 wow. It. Seaweed's amazing. Did I tell you that? So it's good for fat metabolism. It's good for thermogenic effect. Have you ever taken a pill that's for thermo to lose weight that way? So I just learned something. It's called heat proteins. So heat proteins, thermogenic effects. Heat proteins actually activate your immune system. So that's why taking a sauna is so good for you. So say you get a fever. Your fever is to push all the toxins out of your body. Getting a fever is how your body just expels so much so quickly. And taking a sauna is kind of the same effect. You get in the sauna and you sweat out all these toxins. Well, these are thermogenic effects. So heat proteins are really cool if you want to research them. And thermals, if you're trying to lose weight, there's different pills that you can take that are thermogenic. But if you just eat seaweed, you don't have to buy those diet pills. You don't have to spend money on doing or spend time on doing your research. You literally can just know that seaweed is doing so many amazing things for your body. I talked about regulation of blood glucose and insulin sensitivity. Some of the things I've learned in skincare is colors. And so coloring on the skin. So we know that some people will get dark under the eyes. What does that mean? Well, it relates to your kidneys and your adrenals. Okay, so working on your kidney health. We know that around here is your hormonal acne place. You know, usually this is like your lungs. Okay, so we can understand these things. What I found out is that darkness on the back of your neck, darkness on your lower back, darkness under your arms, darkness in your in between your thighs. When you see the skin going dark, you are becoming insulin resistant. And when you're insulin resistant, you start to get all kinds of problems, and it is a precursor to cancer. So insulin sensitivity is something really to think about. And eating seaweed is a great way to help people who are, losing that insulin sensitivity. And it's really important. Also, those little red dots, they're called cherry anomiolas. If you don't know what they are, they all also apparently are a expression of the skin that you have too much sugar in your blood. What's really interesting is that the skin is kind of like a report card for how well your internal systems are doing. And just like when you're getting reflexology, right? And they're pushing certain parts in your feet. Well, your face represents your organs as well. So you can look at face mapping, traditional Chinese face mapping, and these kinds of things where you're looking to see, okay, I have a mole here or discoloration here, or maybe I have acne that keeps showing up in the same spot. And if it's acne here, it's talking about your heart. You know, if it's here, your liver might need a flush. So it's really nice to look at your skin and say, what can I learn from this report card? How well am I doing internally? How well am I doing? And I can look at my skin and see. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Definitely good for appetite regulation. When you're craving sugar, your body is actually craving protein. And we can tell this because if you take L-glutamine will cure your sugar craving like that in seconds, literally. And if you're having cold sores, the best thing you can do is intake more L-lysine and L-arginine, sorry, because those two work together to totally retard the herpes virus and start healing immediately. So, knowing these kinds of things when we're starting to have reports we don't like, there's nutritional things that we can do to fix it. and seaweed offers all this nutrition we need. So polysaccharides are really, really, really cool. And if you don't know about polysaccharides, they're like the goopiness of the seaweed. And what they are is they're long chain sugars, basically. And I know that sounds weird, but they're like a good sugar. They act as a secondary skin. They lock in moisture and hydration. And the sulfated polysaccharides and normal polysaccharides are being used in pharmaceuticals. Something really cool, though, is that seaweed is actually found in your toothpaste as a thickener. It's found in your almond milk as a thickener. It's found in paint as a thickener. It's used in glue. It's used in all these different places that we didn't know. It's in ice cream. Did you know it's in ice cream? Yeah, it's in all these cool little places that we didn't even know. But wait, because I'm going to show you some really cool things that they're doing with seaweed. Just need to look and make sure I'm not running out of time. I'm sorry, I could talk forever about seaweed. It's a fact.
You've got about 5 minutes, and then we'll probably open up a Q&A.
Okay. I think I skipped some. It's not rolling nice for me. Okay, you eat. Do you see thalassotherapy on the screen right now?
Yep, it's on the thalassotherapy right now.
Okay. So thalassotherapy has been covered under France's healthcare system for a long time. And the reason is because it's so effective. So just integrating an ocean dip a few times a year can actually be an improvement for your health. Seaweed is also a great chelator. What does that mean? It means that it sticks to heavy metals and will help to detox heavy metals from the water, from your body, and from your skin. So it's great at heavy metal detox and getting rid of those heavy metals, which are stopping you from getting the minerals that you need, is really important. So when we harvest, we just give seaweed little haircuts. And we're basically replacing the extinct sea cow's job of trimming up the sea forests, which is really cool. And if you didn't know this, seaweed is the fastest growing organism in the world. Yes, bamboo is the fastest growing plant, but seaweed is the fastest growing organism. So that makes it super sustainable. So we give it a little haircut and you wouldn't even know we were there just a few days later. Seriously, it's really amazing. And what does it do? It gives us more oxygen. The kelp forests give us more oxygen than all the forests of the world combined. And what that means is that it can combat climate change really, really, really with minimal effort. We just need 7% of the oceans to have healthy kelp forests, and then we wouldn't have a carbon issue anymore. I think that's pretty amazing. Okay, so it's great for providing oxygen, carbon sequestration, but also it keeps the fish safe. It keeps the seals happy. It actually feeds deer. It does so much more than we know it to do. It's actually where the fish, build their little families and hide from other predators. And it also is great for when it composts, it comes up onto the shore and it decomposes into the ground. And the mycelium is waiting underneath to take all these vital nutrients and move this nutrition around the forest where it's needed, healing the forest, which is really cool. Okay, seaweed is definitely the future. Right now, we're in talks with a few companies that if you look at the top of this page, you'll see that there's olive oil in a little seaweed packet. And then beside it is ketchup. Well, not just that, but packaging like this is going to be replaced by seaweed soon. And other single-use packages for when you get a piece of furniture and it's got the nuts and bolts in it and all kinds of stuff. You can actually even buy soap and other stuff like that from a certain company right now. I can't remember their name, but they're really cool. and they sell soaps and stuff in seaweed and beeswax. So all kinds of uses for sustainable packaging replacement. It's also being used in China to clean air pollution. So they've got these big beehives that clean a 300-mile radius of the air. And then they take all of that sludge out of the hive-like contraption that's cleaned the air, and they make it into biofuel. How cool is that, right? Seaweed does it all. And if you want to learn more, our blog has had so much time and effort put into it. It would be a waste if no one read it. So please take a look at all of the amazing articles that I've been writing about, and you can see just how much science is behind it, because every time you click a link, what you're going to be seeing is going to be sources like the WHO, the UN, the NIH, science, science, science. There's nothing on there that's like, in my opinion, it's all science backed. So please do some research and find out how amazing seaweed is and can be in your life. How's that?
Cool. Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I think that we're gonna open the floor up to some Q&A. So if anyone has any questions, you can either fire them in the chat or put your hand up using the little reaction tab down the bottom.
Put your hands up for
There
seaweed.
should be a little hand up. Yeah. But I do have a couple of messages that were sent to me asking a couple of questions. And then I might start with those and then get to anyone that has questions that has raised their hand. I see Leona has a question. So, oh, yeah, maybe we'll start with Leona.
Hi,
Hi,
Leona.
Chantelle.
Hi.
My name is Leona Hamchit. I'm from the Celtic Nation of Bella Bella, BC. We're
Nice.
on the Central Coast on an island, and we have, I think it's 20 million tons of biomass in our territory. We have a Supreme Court right to harvest and sell herring roe and kelp.
Nice.
And so I'm just blown away by your presentation. It's everything that I've wanted to hear as a Indigenous nation that, is the first to feel the effects of climate change in terms of, the reduction in our natural resources. We're a born and bred fishing community. Our fishermen are on the beach. We have a Supreme Court right that uses kelp. There's a real opportunity for us to engage and really brand and
Get on
market
the map. Yeah.
story that we've been using kelp for the millennia, not just for food, social, ceremonial. I know, like in our culture center, there are many uses. And now too, in my role today as the climate action coordinator for my nation, I'm thrilled with all the potential benefits and how we need to be speaking in of the realm of possibilities going forward, that this is more than just my Indigenous nation. It's about us as a human family being able to protect and better take care of ourselves and our world. Our term for that is Ekila Kansnala O, taking care of our world. And I do know a lot about some of the stuff that you shared, but we're in our infancy in advancing the work that we're doing to pivot and give my fishers new hope about a potential revenue opportunity. I have lots more to share. I would love to chat with you sometime.
Definitely. If you could leave your contact with Logan, and I'll take it up from him. I heard the Haida Gwaii once say, when the tide is out, the table is set. And that's always stuck with me because I'm out there eating lunch all the time.
Yeah, I think that's a value or a profound statement that is generally the same across the board for all of our Indigenous, especially our coastal nations. Thank you.
Thank you, Leona. I
Cool.
saw
Yeah, and I'll make
Amanda.
sure I'll connect you too.
Thank you. I saw Amanda Schwimmer there say, nice presentation, and that's whose kelp I'm holding up. That's Amanda. And
Nice.
she's on this talk, and she's going to be talking Saturday at Bilston Creek. So I just wanted to plug her. I'm going to see her there.
Fantastic.
I hope you don't mind.
I have a couple of questions. No, that's perfect. Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of questions in the chat. I think the first one that came to me was, would you be able to make a recommendation for seaweed products, maybe one of the SeaFlora products that would treat like a dark spot on your skin or spots on your skin?
So we worked with the National Research Council of Canada to find the unique bioactives that actually suppress the enzyme tyrosinase. Tyrosinase is what causes hyperpigmentation on the skin. So that product is called Sea Bright Moisturizer, and it's clinically proven with the National Research Council of Canada to reduce dark spots by 28% and prevent new hyperpigmentation by 71%. So I would look into that product because as far as an organic brightener, it literally took all of my hyperpigmentation away. So I definitely recommend it.
Fantastic. We have a couple of other questions. I think the first one I saw there was from Sarah, and she asks, what time of the year or season do you harvest? And how do you determine if the seaweed is healthy enough to harvest?
So where we are is in beautiful, pristine waters. So Dad, who was a marine biologist for the government of Canada for almost 4 decades, still tests the water for us every year. And it's always coming back cleaner than our drinking water. Believe it or not, we have all the tests to prove it, which is a beautiful thing. So we're in a really great spot to harvest. Excuse me, there's never been a time where we actually looked at them and saw anything but beautiful, flourishing kelp beds. That's why I say seaweed, Vancouver Island is a gift wrapped in seaweed because it's a beautiful wrapping paper. They're healthy, thriving, flourishing forests, and they're vast. So there's never been a time that we've experienced where we couldn't. Now, seaweed start growing on solstice. So December 21st, they start to grow, and we harvest them somewhere between June and August, August being the latest. We like to just go out and give them a little haircut in June and July so that they have a couple more months to grow and spore and just stay super flourishing. It's important to us. That's why we won Greenest Retailer, actually. It's because we harvest all of our main ingredients just steps from where we manufacture, which is a really unique thing. And our seaweed manufacturing facility is actually designated by the municipality as a bakery. Isn't that cool?
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I know.
interesting. Yeah. That's awesome.
I know, the unique little tidbits are endless.
Yeah. I think there's one more question here in the chat, and that is, can you eat the seaweed that comes up on the shore or use it on your skin, and what do you need to do with that to ensure that it's safe?
You just got to look at it. I mean, so your intertidal zone, right, is where it grows. So the first thing you're probably going to see is going to be rockweed, and then pyropia, which is nori, the sushi seaweed, pyropia, and then you'll start seeing hito, right? So it's in layers. So where uva lactuca grows, you might actually think is washed up on the shore, and then you go to pull it and it's actually still stuck to the rock, right? So really you have to look at it, and does it look like it's decomposing? You know it's starting to decompose and spore when you see the white on it. You'll see white blotches. So you wouldn't want to use probably the white parts if it's starting to spore. Otherwise, just give it a good rinse, because you're going to find that little limpets and stuff like to stick to it, and other little arthropods and stuff. So make sure you give it a good wash. I've taken many seaweed baths with the seaweed here, and you really got to wash it good. They hide.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think the last question that I see in the chat is, do you have any plans to package in glass?
all of our packaging has been glass for over a year. So not only is it glass, it's opal glass, which is beautiful. And our outer boxes I had printed with soy ink so that they are fully compostable.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
We
super
take it
cool.
to the next level.
Yeah, no, that's,
Where are those
yeah,
big
that's
brands
super
at?
cool.
Let's go.
Nice.
Thanks,
Uh,
Janine. Yes, please
yeah,
look us up. And yes, eat the uva lactuca fresh. It tastes nice and nutty almost, right? It's beautiful. Good chat. I like all these comments.
fantastic. I think that looks like kind of all of the questions that we have in there, and we're pretty close to 1 o'clock. So
If
this is
anybody
hopefully a
wants to
nice,
buy
accurate hour.
SeaFlora, they can go on the website and get a free full sample routine like you would get at a spa for free, just by clicking the first link up top that says get a free sample. So as long as you only put one of them in your cart, you'll get a free sample so you can have a spa facial at home. And if you want to buy more than that, use the coupon SEARESULTS to get 15% off your order.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Super cool.
You're awesome, Logan. Thank you so much for
I
inviting
try.
us to do this. And I'm sorry, Adam was like, it's snowing in Japan. I gotta go.
Yeah, Adam really ditched us for some snowboarding.
He did for Japan. Oh, he's a backcountry skier. So him and his dad go and walk up the mountains and then ski down them. So it says there, do you have a sunscreen?
Hmm.
Yeah, we will be coming out with our sunscreen in a few months. We're just waiting for the boxes. So we will have a natural sun shield. And then we're still developing other ones that will have tints and other things in that. Thank you. So
Yeah.
nice. Thank you.
That's really cool. The products you guys have and the development is super cool.
Agreed. I couldn't be prouder to work with SeaFlora. And I always tell people I fell so in love with the products, I had to marry the family.
Nice.
Yeah, well,
It's fantastic. Well, I think we're right on an hour there. It's right at 1 o'clock. So I see Carrie's throwing in some ideas for future speakers. And we do have future speakers lined up until April, but maybe we'll reach out to some of those ideas. It's getting harder and harder to read as people write things in the chat. Reach out to some of those people for some ideas on topics. And Leona's been chatting back and forth about some cool stuff going on in Bella Bella with her nation. So it would be also cool to touch base there. And yeah, I'm excited to see you guys all in future presentations. And if you have any questions or project ideas or things like that, please reach out to us and we'll help you all out. And for the next meeting, please share the video link around. But this meeting will also be up on YouTube and our CARTI project page dedicated to the Seaweed series. So you guys will all be able to access this chat and all of the future ones on there. So if you need to come back and review part of it, or you just need to share it with a friend, it's going to be there.
awesome.
But yeah, thank you guys all for being here.
Thank you,
Yeah,
everyone.
no, thank you, Chantelle.
Next time.
Absolutely. Thank you.